Hey, my wonderful, lovely people, a pleasant evening to everybody. Now, beauties, wonderful people, lovelies, handsomes. I'm laughing, beautiful people, and it's not a good laugh. It's more of a broken laugh, a sad laugh. When I see this violence against women, you know, it's rapacious, it's vicious, it is sinister, it is malevolent, it is evil. Birth from nothing but sin and harnessed by the devil and his demons, his cohorts. I was watching the news and, both political parties, talk about, I suppose, revamping whatever accountability framework they have to stop this violence against women. The Prime Minister spoke talking about next week they're going to be looking at whatever framework they have so that this thing can be basically enforced, if I'm to put it in layman's term for you to understand, you know? And I'm laughing, but it is though, and then the opposition, Mr. Golding, he was speaking, and it's basically saying similar, that he under the Porsche administration, Simpson Miller's administration, he had created some sort of framework to stop the violence against women and children and whatnot. And you hear all of these lovely things by the two political sides. One of the things that I'm concerned about is this is not a new phenomenon. It is not a new hypothesis. It is not a new theorem in the land of the living. And in particular, Jamaica, this has been an ongoing issue. It is just that social media is now ripe and expository. It exposes everything like a sore right now. So you will see pockets of it. You saw where the Kingston High student in the first form there, or seventh grader, same for first form, attacking, assaulting a teacher, a female teacher. The businessman viciously, rapaciously assaulting a nurse who was on her way to take care of people, in which he could have been one of them, because they claimed that he was drunk and tipsy. Suppose he had met in an accident. He more than likely could have gone to the same hospital and she would have been the first point of contact to save his life. But you remember, the pea brain was peeing. It was not seeing. And we have had this domestic violence issue for a long time. We see it come out in the different social media platforms, traditional media, and it has not been properly dealt with. So I'm a little bit daunted and a little bit annoyed and quite puzzled when I hear that they're going to look at whatever framework is set up. This should have been something enforced, where a man start to shake in his boots and think 3 times, 5 times before attacking a woman. I'm not saying that he must be fearful of anybody. The only being that you really should fear is God. You notice the Bible speaks only in fear of him, not even the adversary, not even the diablos, the devil, not even him. That's the only time. But there must be that honor and respect for women. Because you know what? Maybe they need to show you some videos of how some of you men come when you were born. I'm sorry they didn't videotape all of them, to see what the woman goes through. Whether she does a cesarean, what you call C-section, or natural birth. I think they need to just lock you up for like a week, all men, and put it in your eyes. The TV just plays it over and over and over again for about 2 weeks straight, non-stop, and see where you come from. Because maybe if that was employed, you would never think to raise your hand or your foot or your words to women in that manner. Am I lauding women who are abusive? No, I'm not. But we're talking about the violence against women in this juncture. Because one of the problems that men fail to do is to take accountability, to take responsibility. They point finger. This is coming from Adam and Eve days. When God gave him Adam, God spoke to him directly, where we know of. He didn't say that he spoke to Eve, because he gave Adam the command not to touch this particular tree before Eve did make. Was fashioned. Go and read Genesis. I think it's Genesis 1 or 2, maybe 2. He was given the information. So we're going to safely say after she was formed from him, that he would have said, no, so God, tell me this. So, but I saw second-hand information she gets, so she never really convinced. We're safely assuming. And so she get tricked, yes. You know, because women are triggered by what they hear. So she get tricked. Because she didn't get it from, we assume that she didn't get it from the source. But God intended for man, who he gave dominion of the earth, to lead. So he didn't lead his wife properly. That's why somebody else came in and trick. It's like a household. If you don't provide for your woman sexually, financially, emotionally, psychologically, because of how women are wired, if a man out there starts to provide in those areas, even if she stays, it's like a shell staying. It's natural. You can't unmake herself that way. So stay there, don't provide for the woman. So, you know, and Adam, God gave him the command, so he should have led his wife. And when him confront, you know what them say? The woman where you give me blame. That's why God slap on some curses upon him too. He give some lick under his kin. He get some lick under his kick because he came with nonsense. He did not take accountability, did not take responsibility. And that's why no man get beaten by God in a horrendous manner. Because when you fail to take responsibility, it's like kryptonite to Superman. And had many of you been held accountable and liable, had many of you been, trust me, many of you would not even think to do what that businessman did, to not even think to do what that school child pinned down a teacher, pinned down a teacher, the level of disrespect. And I want to see one come through the vaginal walls of the woman. Somehow touch it, whether cesarean or not. Come close to the area. When you born, 7 months, 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, 10 months, 20 months, 40 months, 50 months, woman having on a belly. And you take on a big strong gorilla hand for harm her, and a big strong gorilla foot for stomp on her. Mighty God of Daniel. No, sir. Because we can't commit certain despicable acts, you know. Or we not go back to man again, you know. To how no make we feel so horrible. Your strength isn't strengthening at all. When we think of how you should have been strutting, when the physical strength should be to protect, and you strut that muscles when you're doing your bench presses, when you lift us up, when you're making love to us, when you're throwing us on the chandelier, that is the strength we admire. But instead you have employed the strategies of the devil instead of the strategies of God when dealing with a woman. The same woman that your head touched her vaginal walls when you were coming out. If they go close to it, even if it is cesarean, I don't know how that operates, but you go right there, so shoving at the belly for how many months? And your strength now becomes unattractive. You become despicable and disgusting in the sight of the woman. And when they get rid of you by the laws of the land or the laws of God, she rejoices within. But we hope that this accountability framework will be enforced. Guys, you know what to do with TikTok and YouTube. Subscribe. Give me one of those lines.